What's up, people of YouTube? This is Driftor bringing you guys another video to the channel, and today I'm going to be discussing the PlayStation 5. The console's been out for a few months now, and I feel like it's time to give my opinion, a review over the console. Is it worth buying? Is it worth the price point? Is it worth stressing over finding one of these consoles, considering it is still extremely difficult to get these? I'm going to try to answer all those questions for you guys here today and give you good detail of all aspects of the console that I feel are important. Now, I was one of the lucky few people who were able to get this console on day one of release back in November. It was very stressful. It was a very long day of me trying to get one, but I did manage to get one from Walmart at the standard price. I was not one of those people who gave into a scalper, and I was very excited to get it in the mail and get it opened and set up and try using it and enjoying some games. The first game that I had to play was Call of Duty Cold War. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is I didn't notice a huge difference from PlayStation 5 to from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 in terms of Call of Duty. I will say that the load times are fantastic, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are already aware. Pretty much anything that you play, the load times are just insane. Playing GTA 5, it loads in literally seconds. It's not even a competition on the load time front. But is it worth buying just simply for the load times? No, not necessarily. So Call of Duty in specific, I didn't see a huge advantage to purchasing the console for just playing Call of Duty, at least this year, because it was made for two consoles. But let's take a look at something that's a little bit more fine-tuned. If you take a look at something like Spider-Man, which is gameplay you guys should be seeing, this game was very fun to play on this console. With ray tracing enabled at 60 frames per second minimum, it was a very seamless, fluid, fun game to play on this console. It felt like it was a next-gen console game at the very base level. Like, I'm sure there's a lot to come for these consoles, but it feels like this was the only title that I've played for next-gen console, PlayStation 5, that really set a standard of like, okay, this is the potential that we're going to be seeing moving forward. They're going to build upon this. So I can say just off of that game alone that I feel like in terms of games, PlayStation 5 would be worth it because I can see the direction that it's going to go and I can see the potential. Another game that I play on the PlayStation 5 is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is a very fun game. There's a lot to it. It's a very big world, very detailed, and that's something that I can really see in the PlayStation 5 version in comparison to something like Odyssey on the PS4. I can see the details. I can see just the way that the world is designed. The lighting is immaculate. It's insane, guys. I really like that. And of course, again, the load times are crystal clear. Now, in terms of graphic fidelity from the PlayStation 4 to the PS5, I don't see a huge upgrade in terms of overall graphic quality, especially when it comes to faces and cutscenes on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I don't think there's a huge difference there. I don't think it's super impressive, but to be completely honest, Ubisoft titles, Assassin's Creed in particular, their graphics haven't been the most amazing thing ever. It's not on the same level as like The Last of Us or some of these other games, but the world in general, just the setting looks beautiful, from the trees and the mountains and the snow and the lighting and the water. All of that looks really good. So I recommend playing Assassin's Creed on PS5 if you have the ability to do so, because me personally, I'm just a fan of the Assassin's Creed series. But overall, all we've talked about so far is the games. Are the games worth it on next-gen consoles? The answer to that is yes and no. I mean, the ones that are more mainstreamed for the console, so Spider-Man, I haven't played Demon Souls, but I've heard really good things. I feel like Demon Souls would probably work really well for the PS5. And then, of course, it helps to have games like Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, stuff like that on the new consoles because they're just gonna run better. So to answer your question, if you're worried about games, you rightfully should be. There's not a whole lot of options, but the ones that are there are good. Next up, let's talk about the controller. So the PlayStation 5 controller is a little bit bigger than the PS4 controller. It feels a little bit more beefy and just it fits bigger in the hand, which I personally like. I have big hands. It's heavier, which I also like. It just feels more durable. And something that I didn't think I would love as much as I do is the reactive triggers. They are a game changer. When you're playing Spider-Man, you can feel like the string break when you're swinging in midair, or if you're playing Call of Duty, if you decide to turn that part of the controller on, it feels like you have a gun with recoil in your hand. It's really immersive and nice. I didn't think that I would love it as much as I do, and I'm really thankful that the controller has this feature. Even though I'm not going to use it in stuff like Call of Duty, it's still really nice to have, and it adds another layer to the detail of the game. Another small aspect that was really promoted for the PlayStation 5, 3D audio. I've noticed on the PlayStation 5 that I can hear things so much better than I could on the PS4. Directional sound just seems night and day better for PS5 versions of the game. Now, when I'm playing Black Ops Cold War on PS5, I can tell where somebody is when they're walking. Like, it is not hard to tell where they're located. But when I'm playing, let's say, Warzone, which is a PlayStation 4 native title, technically, the sound design on that game is good, because I remember it being good from Modern Warfare. You can tell that there's footsteps coming from a direction, but you can never really pinpoint where those footsteps are coming from. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed about 3D audio. It just feels more immersive. It feels like you're actually there, and things are actually happening around you, whereas you couldn't really have that same level on previous consoles or PC games that I've played. I'm not a huge PC enthusiast, but the ones that I've played never quite hit this level of sound design. Now, the last little bit of a topic to discuss here is the XMB menu and just kind of the way that everything's laid out. I personally like it. Initially, I was thrown off and I was not used to it, which is to be expected. It's very similar to the PlayStation 4, but it's got a nice level of upgrade. It's very smooth, it's sleek, there's no lag, there's no slowdown, nothing like that. It has everything that you need for it to work properly, but there are extra menus and places that you have to go to get to things that you used to be able to get to a lot faster on the PlayStation 4. I'm not a huge fan of the way that they have trophies laid out on this console. I'm also not a huge fan of the way that you have to like invite friends or create party chats. Stuff like that just seems a little clunky, and I'm sure that they'll kind of streamline some of that within the next few updates or whenever they do that down the line. Overall though, the XMB menu is good. It's exactly what I was expecting, and it's smooth, functional. Nothing is too crazy out of place, and it's simple. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to it, but it's also very similar to the PlayStation 4 and the fact that everything is all in one section. You don't have to go through too many menus to get to what you're looking for. In addition to the XMB menu, one thing that I do have a complaint on is I'm not a huge fan of how they have introduced the PlayStation Network store into the XMB menu. It's not necessarily that I don't like that it's part of the menu, it's I don't like the layout of the store. I feel like it's very hard to find, when they're doing sales or how to navigate PlayStation Plus things. It just seems a little bit harder to get through items or to look for a particular subset of items than it was on the previous console. I think that, again, that's something that I'm sure they're going to change and tweak and work with over time. But right now, I'm not the biggest fan of how that's laid out. That's pretty much everything that I have to say about the console. Obviously, I think that the console looks really cool. I'm glad that it wasn't just a black box. I like the fact that it was a little bit stylish this time around. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with the customizable plates, hopefully in the near future. And overall, I would say that the PlayStation 5 is worth the $500, but I would say it's only worth $500. With the amount of games that are out there right now, and just the lack of things to really do with it, it's not worth more than $500. If it would have launched with 10 more titles or some exclusive titles that were just really fine-tuned for this console, then I could see it being worth more than that. I'm really happy that the console launched at the price that it did, because I feel like that's a very affordable price for a brand new console. Almost a decade ago, we had the PlayStation 4 release at $400. So for it to go by almost 10 years, and the price to only go up $100, and it performs way better than the PlayStation 4 does, I really can't complain. One last thing I want to throw in here, I didn't have any negative experiences with heating or cooling or anything like that. Cold War does crash on my PlayStation 5 quite a bit, but I don't think that's the PlayStation 5. That's the only game that I have complications with. I'm pretty sure that is just Black Ops Cold War, because that game is insanely buggy and it was crashing on my PS4 before I started playing it on my PS5. So anyways, guys, that is everything for this video. If you did enjoy it, if it was helpful, if it helped you make a decision on your purchase, or if you're going to try to purchase one of these in the near future, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Anyways, deuces.